All right, here is the syllabus that we're going to take a look at right now. I'm going to run through the syllabus with you and go over a few extra points that might be located here throughout, and we will take a look at this. So click, obviously, on the syllabus link on your left, and you will come to the syllabus, our syllabus for our overview of the Bible, CST 100. So if you're not registered for that course and somehow you're in it, we'll need to check on that. And so here we have the description of the course. We're going to be going through the Bible, the survey of the Hebrew Bible, from the Christian writings, the New Testament, but also the Old Testament, the life of Jesus, the development of the early church, and the life of the Hebrew people in the Old Testament. So that is the content of the course. This is an online learning class, which thankfully, that means you have a lot of flexibility when it comes to attending classes. You may see me sometimes with my little baby in some of these videos because she doesn't really go on a schedule. So it's nice to have that flexibility where you can do work and hold a 1-month-old newborn, or meet some of the other issues or things that are going on in your life without having to be tied down to a classroom. So that is a great thing about the flexibility. So each course week will begin on a Monday and end on a Sunday. Everything is due on Sunday night, but you should log on several times throughout the week. So try to get started on your discussion boards early in the week so that people have a chance to respond to them. Some people don't want to do work on the weekends. They want to get it done by Friday. That's fine. So it's good to kind of stay involved throughout, especially for the interactive parts of the course, so that people who are not going to be working on the weekends can communicate and collaborate with others who do most of their work on the weekend. So try to keep active throughout the course, throughout the week. You should participate in every assignment and in every online discussion. You should be careful, note the opening and closing times, and keep track of the course schedule. But it's pretty, once you've been through a couple weeks, you'll get the hang of it as to when things are due. My contact information, I have a virtual location. It's actually in Orange, Texas, but most of you, pretty much probably all of you, are nowhere near my office. So if you want to communicate with me, the best time would be email. That is your best shot at getting me to respond, because sometimes I can't really answer the phone if I'm holding a sleeping baby or vice versa, but I usually have email. I can respond pretty quickly with that. But I'm available for phone calls between the hours of 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific time. But I may not be able to respond as quickly as I could to email. And also, you can contact me. And if you want to set up a FaceTime discussion or a phone call discussion, you can email me and we can set that up. Now, your required text and resources, you can get them at the campus bookstore or online, and you can click there. So the Bible, you should have a copy of the Bible. Any translation is acceptable. This course recommends the ESV Study Bible, and it's helpful. You should read the passages listed on this little link here. This link I don't think actually works, but in week 1, when you click there, it will come up with a PDF, and it will come up, and you can keep that downloaded or on your desktop there. So that I mentioned the reading plan is available in week 1. Then Johnston's text, Philip Johnston, the IVP Introduction to the Bible, 2011, and Vaughn Roberts, God's Big Picture. We'll be using that for our discussion boards, and then anything else that I might provide you on Blackboard. And you can go through the course student outcomes and see what's there and what our objectives are with this course. So I'll let you look over that. And you can, if you have questions about that. Now, most of the student learning outcomes in this course are focused on being academically prepared and biblically rooted. Now, there is some touching on globally minded and equipped to serve, that's not quite the purpose of each thing. We're mostly focused on learning about the Bible, becoming biblically rooted, and how that affects being academically prepared for what you're going to do in life, for what you're going to do in the school, in just many different areas. So those are our focuses there. Now, the assignments that you will have in this class, First, you'll have reading and lectures. So the reading, that will be what you do. Try to get that done earlier on in the week so that you can do the assignments earlier, especially the discussion board. That's the one that sorry, there's a little fly running around. That's the one, the discussion board is what we want to try to get, at least make your initial post by Thursday so that some others can respond to it, especially those who want to get finished before the weekend. So each student should complete those readings, watch the lectures that I've posted on the website in the modules, and then read the assigned text and read it during the lectures. Take some notes. Sometimes I'll make hints as to what's on the quiz, so keep an eye out for that. And then you will have a weekly quiz that's always due Sunday night, but you're welcome to take it earlier than that. The questions are mostly true and false, multiple choice matching, and you're not to use any aids, no books, notes for the completion of those quizzes. The other one, which I mentioned, the discussion board, something to work on each week. There will be discussion questions for you to answer. You should respond concisely and thoughtfully, so around 200 words, to the discussion questions, and there will be more than one. And then each student, you want to respond to at least 2 other students during the week. And the successful interaction, the A response, A+ response, will say more than just agreeing, oh, I agree with what Joe said. That's not an acceptable response. That's just talking. Instead, you want to, if we were in classroom and someone answered the question and they said something that's made you think of an example, a personal example, made you think of something from the reading. Say, well, what Joe said, that reminded me of something I saw on the street, a conversation that someone and I are having, something that continues the discussion, causes someone to continue on. So that's the successful interaction that we want to have. You want to further the conversation there. So consider that. I'll try to note some examples further on in that. And then finally, your critical assignment. This is going to be due in the last week of the course. You'll write a critical introduction to a book of the Bible, and you're going to select a book of the Bible. Read it in its entirety, research the historical background, the literary structure, major themes, place in the biblical storyline, and theological message. All of those things can be found in a commentary, an academic commentary. And I have a video posted on the main page about how to research for this assignment, especially if you don't have access to a library, how to use the online library for California Baptist University to research for this assignment. And this paper is going to be 6 to 10 pages long. You should have a bibliography, not counted toward the page total, but you should have each of these topics, and you don't want to use the internet, as in Google. You don't want to use Google to find your sources. Academic sources are found in libraries, so you will use the internet in that if you don't have access to a library, you can use the internet to go through the CBU library to find your academic sources. And you can watch the video if you're confused on how to do that, or I can point you in some other directions on how to do that. So these are just some examples of commentaries that you would use. You can see the rubric attached in week 8 for how the critical assignment will be assessed, and please pay careful attention to that, because that is basically how you will be graded. If you realize that your paper is not following that rubric, or you haven't done that, then you'll want to make sure that you have assessed your paper, have completed your paper for what is required in the rubric. All work submitted for this course should be your own, and the critical assignment, it has to be passed at an acceptable rate, basically at a C, in order to pass the course. And that rubric shows you how to get at least a C. So you want to make sure that you do that. I can't stress the importance of that enough. So here is the points distribution. Pretty simple. The discussion boards, the quizzes, and the critical assignment, all of those count towards your final grade. So 40%, 40%, and 20% But if you don't pass the critical assignment, then basically don't pass the course. So make sure that you do complete that critical assignment with a passing grade there. Please check your grades often via Blackboard. Yeah, do that. And let me know if you see something that seems wrong or off to you. But here's our basic course schedule. It's mostly the same each week. I may change it up once or twice with something different. So maybe like in week 3, instead of attending the historical lectures, I may have a different assignment for you. But it's basically following the same pattern. Read your Bible plan, read Johnson, read Roberts. So the reading part, sit down, do that. And earlier on in the week, answer your first discussion board question, preferably a Thursday night, but everything is due by Sunday night. Then take the quiz and answer your other 2 discussion board questions as well in the response time. So also don't forget to attend and watch the lectures. So that is what will take place each week. The last week you will have that critical assignment due on Wednesday. Try to get it in because, you're coming up on Christmas, right, on this last day, this day 3. So try to get everything done because Christmas is coming up that weekend and we're finished with classes, I think, on day 5. So I need to change this to day 5, and I will. So that is due on day 5. So the course schedule, yes, check on that and we will come back to that. Your professionalism, your written work should be professional quality. Anything that you submit on discussion boards or in your critical assessment, it should not have excessive or distracting grammatical, mechanical, typographical errors. Pretend as though you are, well, hopefully because you're submitting this for everyone to see, you would want it to have good grammar, good style. Read over it before you press the submit button. Make sure that it's free from those errors, as though you were submitting this to a boss or someone like that. I'm your professor, so hopefully you would want it to look good there. But as a professional, you also want to, as you collaborate with colleagues on in-class activities, show respect to each other. Sorry, this fly, I've got to get rid of it. Show respect to each other and have positive, good communication there. Also for contact, email, I will respond to your email within 24 hours. Any communication that you make, I will try to respond within 24 hours. Usually, especially with email, I'm able to get back much sooner than the 24-hour mark. If we reach 24 hours and you haven't heard back from me, something must have happened, and try to send another email. It maybe got lost, I didn't see it, something like that. But typically I will respond within 24 hours. I try to have all your work graded within 72 hours. That is what I'm fulfilling for my part. Late assignments, I will not accept quizzes and discussion board submissions past the deadline, but unless you have communicated with me and you have some dire situation that requires a different deadline. I'm not so hardcore that I won't work with you. But communicate with me and keep me updated if you just don't submit something. And I notice that there's a pattern with that, I may talk with you and check on that, but if I don't hear from you, I'm just going to assume you didn't really care about that and your grade will reflect that. So if something is submitted late, especially discussion boards require that you have interaction. So if you post a discussion board a week late, no one's going to see it. So you will not, I automatically give zeros when I'm grading the discussion board work if there's nothing posted there. So please do that. Also, netiquette, I already mentioned that, but academic honesty, don't use anyone else's work as your own. That is a significant issue. Please don't do that. I don't want to punish anyone. I don't want to have to go through all of these loops and hoops to try to handle that. So just don't do it. That's my thing. Just don't violate the honor code. If you have a disability, please contact me, and I look forward to working with you this semester.